Good afternoon, and welcome to the Voice of Wisdom. With over 60 years of experience as an investment banker, entrepreneur, venture capitalist, securities analyst, and advisor, Morty Davis is a Wall Street legend. In addition, Mr. Davis is an outstanding economist and highly articulate, incisive, and very entertaining political analyst and strategist. He's Wall Street and capitalism personified. The over 400 companies for which he has raised more than $3 billion over the years have created a countless number of jobs and exciting new products. Through the voice of wisdom, Mr. Davis explores, analyzes, and debates the most topical, political, economic, and social issues facing our world today. Joining Mr. Davis today for a discussion on guns in America and other big issues is Ron Geier. Ron is an entrepreneur and business owner. And now, Mr. Davis and Mr. Geier.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
It must be Wednesday, 6:30. It's good to be back with my favorite group of people in the whole world, my cohorts. You all are responsible for the success of this podcast, and I have to tell you, I appreciate all your comments, even those that are critical of me, because they add to my knowledge and education and help me rethink some of my positions. Not that I necessarily changed my mind, but at least I come to understand much better the other side's point of view. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm pleased to say I have a fabulous guest with me tonight. Really great. You're going to enjoy him. It's a pleasure, a privilege and a pleasure for me to have my cohort on the screen. We'll tell you a little bit more about him, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about himself. So without further ado, I apologize, as I always do, because inevitably when we discuss the week's news, it's always inevitably depressing. It's what breaks the news and makes the headlines, and the network breaking news, or the cable breaking news is murders, not necessarily a murder, but it's got to be mass murders. Murders don't make it at all. Good news doesn't make it at all. If somebody gives $50 million to some charity, which is wonderful, or gives $50 million to a university or something, that's newsworthy. That doesn't make breaking news. It may appear somewhere in the newspaper. What appears is what we experience far too often. These mass killings, bus crashes, or other kind of plane crashes that kill many, all likely to depress you and make you feel bad, as it does me, unless you're uniquely different. So I want to start off by alleviating some of that depression by telling you how to actually, the reasons why I wrote the book that you see on your screen, Happiness Guaranteed or Your Misery Bad. And at the bottom you don't see it, but it says, How to Be Happy No Matter What. It was motivated, writing this book was motivated to me. What motivated me to write this book was because I want all my loved ones my kids, my grandkids. I thankfully have I recently had my 98th great grandchild. Uh, so I'm very blessed, and I want to leave them a legacy of how to be happy. And I lecture them all the time about it, if I remember. And I always remember when they come by, I share my views with them and try to be inspirational to them. So likewise, before I get into the depressing part of the weekly news, which is the only thing we happen to discuss, because we don't, unless it comes as part of the other discussion, of the broader discussion, any happy events or any inspiring events or any uplifting events or any wonderful, good, good, great events that should really make the front pages of our lives and doesn't. So I start off by telling you, if you want to get not happiness, because happiness as it's defined in this country by most people is when somebody gets drunk or is on some drugs that makes them slap everybody in the back and jump around and dance and so forth. That's not happiness. I mean, contentment today, now, and all of the days of your life. So if you want to really get all of it, I can give it to you now, and I'll only give you maybe one idea before we get to the main topics of tonight's event, is run out, don't walk, run out and acquire this book, because that will do exactly what I'm promising you. And I'm so sure of it because all the people who have responded, without exception, maybe the ones that don't have good things to say about it don't call me, but everybody that's called me, even CEOs of the most major corporations, and professors and rabbinical and priests and all the people that we generally respect who have acquired this book and have gotten in touch with me tell me it's uplifted them, it's inspired them, it's benefited their daily lives, not just once. So run out and get it. And I'm so sure about how much you'll get out of it, how positively it will affect your lives, how beneficial it will be to you, that I will give you the best deal ever. On television, if you buy some supplement or some drug or any product, they're very nice about telling you that if you don't get what they promise you, they'll refund you your purchase price. And you don't even have to send back the bottle or the container or whatever. In this case, you don't even have to send back my book. But I'll give you double that because I'm so confident that you will enjoy it and benefit and be uplifted by it. I'll give you, and you can even keep the book, double what you paid for it. So just send me the purchase slip and I will immediately refund double the price. Just don't run out and buy 100 books so you get double the make it an income source for you. But I can't figure out how to give you a better um, incentive than that, other than promise you that I'll give you the number to win the next lottery. So I will give you one quick idea on how to improve your life today and forever after until you're at least 124. That's an arbitrary number, but till you're around that age. And at that time, we'll negotiate for more. So what I want you to do this very day, as soon as, even while we're on this podcast, think of something, some goal, something you'd like to become, or something you'd like to achieve, or something wonderful you'd like to do for others, and start working in it. The minute you start working on that goal, assuming you're not picking something that you don't have the talent or the mindset to achieve. Like I wanted to be a rock star singer, and my father hired a cantor to teach me, and he was paying him a significant tutorial payment. And I went to one of the first session, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I went to the second session, again an hour and a half, 2 hours. And this cantor was very, very honest, great integrity. And he came to see my father, and he says, I love the big fees you pay me, but I just can't take them because I have to be honest with you. There's no way in the world, even if I had 100 years, that I could accomplish what you're paying me for, because your son has no talent and no capability of ever being not a great singer, even a mildly good singer. So I want to resign the position. I think that was wonderful. It was a super and delightful in that sense. So pick something that you have the capacity to achieve. And don't worry if you initially you start to fail, because as one young man walked up to Thomas Edison, who invented the electric bulb, the light, gave us light. And, as God says, and then there shall be light. He changed our lives so dramatically, because were not so, we would be doing this event, this podcast, over candlelight. And as a matter of fact, we couldn't even do it because we wouldn't have the light on the television and the technology of television. One of the greatest inventions ever. And so a young man came up to him and said, Mr. Edison, how do you explain the fact that you failed 1,000 times and you kept at it? That's unbelievable. Everybody admires what you. So he said, young man, who told you I failed 1,000 times? He says, Mr. Edison, everybody knows that. We always talk about it. We discuss it. He says, young man, I never failed once. So he says, what do you mean? It's common knowledge. It's universal knowledge. He says, young man, I never failed once. I succeeded 1,000 times in learning what didn't work. Every time I worked at it and I made one step closer through that failure, I was happy, and I realized I was getting one step closer to my ultimate goal. So the same with you. Once you start, the minute you start with the first moment, you will feel better and uplifted. And number one, most importantly, it will give you a purpose in life, an aspiration that you're eager to fulfill. And when you start working on it, you're on your way. So that's my word of advice to you on how to lead a fulfilling, worthwhile, contented life. I don't know if you ever helped a blind person cross the road, but I have, and I've never received such enthusiastic appreciation. Thanks. It's such a wonderful thing to do good things for others, for your own spouse, for your children, for your neighbors, for your community, for your countrymen, for all of humanity. That was my motivation again to write this book. And in my case, it occurred because I heard of a book by Bishop Sheen, who led a Catholic church in the middle of Manhattan, somewhere around, I think, 60th Street in the 60s. And he wrote a book, The Power of Positive Thinking. And when I read that book from day one, it changed my life. If you think positively, positive things happen. It changes your orientation, as opposed to what we all do too often. We spend time thinking about, even focusing on events that were adversarial, failures. If only I would have, or could have, or should have. We're replaying those events, much to our chagrin, because it only makes us less happy. It's very much like you would never go back to a vacation destination where you had a miserable time. You should never go back to thinking about those experiences, the failures, the negatives, and so forth. So think of a goal, an aspiration that you have, a purpose in life that will help others and make the world a better place. So that's my recommendation to you. Not to take some drug that will seemingly make you happy, or some liquor, or 12 beers or something. Just have a purpose in life. So many of us grow through life just letting life happen to us. I want you to have a purpose that every time you have free time, you go back to working on that achievement. Okay, without further ado, I want to get the program launched, and I will have our guest address the first question of this week's discussion. So, first of all, would you tell me a little bit about yourself?
What would you like to know?
Let's start off by saying your name, not necessarily your address, but your name, what your career is, and
My
anything.
name is Ron Geier. I live in New Jersey. I own a small business of maintenance and construction, and that's pretty much my life story right now.
Good for you. That's brief and beautiful. You want to start with the first question then, so we
Go
get
for it.
on. True or false? Guns don't kill, people kill.
True.
The reason that comes up is because every day, every single day in our country, more than 365 days a year, we have gun tragedies. Some even self-inflicted. Like a little kid will access your gun, your own child, and didn't realize it was loaded and wound up inadvertently killing himself or and imposing serious damage to his body with serious wounds. So it happens more than 365 days a year. And there are more than one gun in this country for every citizen, every inhabitant, which is amazing. There's what 320 million people in the United States. There's about
I think we're up to 350 now.
what?
I think there's a 350 million citizens in the United States.
Oh, I didn't count them lately. 350 million people. There's much more than 700 million, more than double, maybe more than triple the amount of guns,
The
which is remarkable.
registered guns or illegal guns?
Legal, illegal, all kind of guns.
Registered guns, there's 380 million registered guns in the United States.
I'm not talking about registered. There's probably
Yes,
more unregistered guns than registered
absolutely.
because while even with the new laws that were passed not so long ago, that the retailer that sells it to you has to do a background check before he gives you the gun, so that could take as much as I don't know how much, but they're allowed to have one day to do that check.
Well, in New Jersey, it's one of the strictest states in the
It's
country.
what?
New Jersey is one of the strictest states in the country, and it takes about 4 days for the background check.
Okay, so I'm already educated, more knowledgeable than I was at the beginning of this podcast. So even if it takes 3 days, there are gun. What do they call them? Not summon.
Ghost guns.
No, over the ghost guns too. But ghosts can shoot guns, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, ghost guns are ones that are made through their own efforts.
Yes.
So those are never registered. But I'm saying every week, and for sure every weekend of the year, there are gun, um, what are they, seminars and demonstrations.
There's gun shows everywhere.
That's it, gun shows. Thank you. Every during the week, but certainly every weekend of the year. And at those shows, you can buy not one gun, as you can at a retailer, but 40 guns, which you can then go out and market to your friends or distribute to your friends or give to your friends, whatever the case may be. So that's where most of the illegal guns come from. They don't buy it from retailers that check their backgrounds because they don't want their backgrounds checked. They may have juvenile records, they might have criminal records, they may not qualify. So they go to these gun shows that have no limitations as to background or the number you can buy. Who has to buy 25 guns at a time? Only they buy it so they can redistribute them in some way and make a profit or make good friends, whatever. So to me, that's such a sad thing because there's no other country in the world. We're the most advanced country, supposedly, that has so many killings by guns as the United States. No, and if they say, guns don't kill, only humans do. If they didn't have guns, if they try to do it with knives or baseball bats or whatever, they could be stopped before they could be mass shootings. I remember a number of years ago, there was a killing in a movie theater in Colorado. And
Aurora, Colorado.
pardon me?
Aurora, Colorado. The
Aurora.
Batman showing.
This gentleman knows everything. So the NRA, the National Rifle Association, which is the number one lobbyist and the most successful lobbyist in the country, to legislature, to the president, in every way, which way. They tell you if you vote for any kind of gun control, we'll make sure we back your opponent, or we'll develop a primary opponent for you, and we'll do everything in the world to get you defeated. As a consequence, very few legislatures ever bring up gun control, even though about 80% of the electorate polled say they're for gun control, some form of gun control. The degree is different. Not everybody has the same degree of what they would impose, but everybody wants some form of gun control. And nobody's more successful, to my knowledge, than the NRA, which gets a fortune of money from the manufacturers of guns, the wholesalers of guns, the retailers of guns, and the people that sell the ammunition. It's a very strong and motivated lobby, and so the NRA has a fortune. They're always saying they'll take away your guns, you won't be able to hunt, whatever, some reasonable, do target practice, which doesn't hurt anybody. But they don't want any control, and they insist that's the second. I think it's the Second Amendment to the Constitution.
Yes.
That guarantees the right
to bear arms.
It doesn't say that. It says, if it said that, that would be more reasonable than what exists. It says, the right, every man, it doesn't even say woman, every man as part of a militia to own guns, to have guns, to have a gun. It doesn't say guns either, not plural. To have a gun. So it says it qualifies it as part of militia. I don't know how the Supreme Court doesn't take that into consideration, because every extra word in the Bible is considered to have a purpose. It may seem like it's purposeful, but the scholars and the rabbis and the priests and the Pope, it gives meaning to those extra words. They're not there put in vain. God didn't presumably put extra words in his communication to the human race. So why don't they make it as part of a militia? I have no problem, because militias are trained. They're advised and ordered to use it only in circumstances. It's not like the average kid that might have a gun and uses it whenever he gets angry at somebody of his, especially the ones that are most vulnerable. The young black kids that somehow access guns, not through retailers, but through some approach like ghost guns, or somebody that bought 50 or 100 at a gun show during the week or over the weekend. So it says, if you read the whole statement, it says, and some of the members of the Supreme Court are originalists. They say they only trust what's absolutely said in the Constitution.
Well, the Constitution says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a
That's
free
right.
state.
All that preface. Right. But it's come to mean, been interpreted that every man, not even though it doesn't mention woman, every man, with that preface, that every man is entitled to have a gun.
And the rest of the sentence is the right of the people to keep and bear arms, plural,
But
shall
it doesn't
continue
it,
to
it
appear.
doesn't address the preface of why it says as part of a well-regulated militia.
Yes, a state is a well-regulated militia.
Yeah, so we don't have that constriction.
We do actually, in certain states
No,
we do.
everybody can walk in and buy a gun. Every man.
Absolutely not. In certain states you cannot do that. Now you can travel to
It's
another
just
state.
another qualification in certain states. But
Yes.
broadly, you can do it almost every state. And if you can't do it in your state, you could access it through another state.
Well,
Like in Chicago, the governor says most of the guns in Chicago arrive there from other states because they have strict gun laws. So it's not covered.
it all boils down to supply and demand.
What?
Supply and demand. If there's a demand, somebody will supply it,
Yeah. So
regardless of what it is.
then we should let what's it has that drug
Fentanyl.
fentanyl in because that's what we're guilty. We blame the people that supply it. We should stop our own people from making the demand there. You're
I
right.
agree with you.
So that's not an excuse. What is the demand?
No, you're saying it's coming from out of state. I understand that it's coming from out of state, but it's coming
Out of
because
state,
people
out of
want
the
it.
country, they shouldn't be allowed to access it because it's
I
illegal.
agree with you.
But it's not illegal.
I agree
Every
with you
man,
about that, but there's nothing you
the
can't control all the states.
wait, the interpretation has come to mean every man has a right, not even woman, every man has a right to bear arms. But it leaves out the whole preface as part of a
Regulated militia.
well regulated militia. Most of the people that own guns are not part of any regulated militia, and even those like what was
Okay, so what's your definition of a regulated militia?
Supreme Court Justice Scalia, who called himself an originalist. He said the interpretation of the Constitution has to be the exact words of the Constitution. The exact words say as part of a well-regulated militia.
But what's the definition of a well-regulated militia?
Well, that we could discuss, but you know that 98% of the people that have guns are not part of a well-regulated militia.
That it boils down to what your definition is of a well-regulated militia.
Whatever your definition is, do you believe that even 10% of all the people that have guns are part of a regulated?
Well, I look at it this way, that a well-regulated militia could be my immediate family is a militia, and
That's
we
not a
are
definition. You can make it. You can't make up your own definitions. Regular, regular.
well-regulated militia. To me, my family is a militia.
Not be an army, a police. then nobody ever would call your family a militia.
I got news for you.
Maybe,
I don't
maybe,
trust policemen with guns.
maybe you would know how violent and how militaristic your family is, but nobody would call your family a militia.
But
Never.
you said police. So how come whenever
Police,
police shoot somebody,
police,
they
army.
shoot 400 rounds and kill a guy instead of 2 rounds to kill a guy?
Yeah, but they're trained, and
They're
even
not
that,
though.
they are.
They,
The
they're not
police
that good
that
at their
have a
job then.
gun, police that are allowed to have a gun have prior
I
training,
understand that they're allowed to,
and they
but I
have to
wouldn't say that they're
store,
proficient
and they
in
have
it.
to, and they're trained to store their guns. They have prior training, not like some young juvenile that can, without any training, without anything, can acquire a gun, and if he gets angry at his, and most importantly, to the black community, where we're overwhelmingly someone these events occur, they they always pull a gun on each other, or so often
Because
pulling.
people can't deal with their feelings anymore. So they take the easy way out
What
and
you're
shoot
saying,
somebody.
you're expressing now the reason, the underlying reason. But I'm telling you the result. If they couldn't get a gun, they couldn't do it. With
Or
with a
they'll take a car
with a,
and run
base,
somebody over.
with a baseball bat or with a knife, they could never do as many killings as
But I can take
quickly
a
as they
car and
can
run
with
over 50 people.
what?
I can
What?
take a car and run over 50 people.
You could take a what?
A car, a vehicle, and run over 50 people.
Yeah, look, you could. You're right.
I'm just saying.
Look, but I don't think a 15-year-old boy that has no license can. If they break the law, they could do anything. They could do
Well, they're
anything.
breaking the law by having a gun. So what's the difference?
What do you mean? There's no law that says if they're qualified, if they do it for their own self-protection and they can prove that, they, I'll tell you the difference. Australia had one mass shooting in 1995, I think. One mass shooting. They immediately changed all their laws. Now, to get a gun in Australia, you have to wait a year. You have to report to the police. You have to get training. You have to, you know, they haven't had another mass shooting for, till they had a second mass shooting maybe 4 years ago from
Yes.
95, and only one. It shows you it works. You don't have mass shootings if you don't make it available. You have to get a whole year, you have to wait. And the police have to supervise your capacity to own a gun. It makes
I
a
have no
difference.
problem with that.
Okay, so it makes a
I have no
difference.
problem going
I'm
for a
not saying
contest
you.
to
Yeah,
acquire a gun.
but I don't care if you have or you don't have. You're not the ultimate decider. You know, if you decide that you want to let everybody have a gun, that doesn't mean that that's right. If I decide something, it doesn't mean everybody has to abide to it. We all have we have laws on the books. So what
Well,
you
if you want to change the laws, pick the right government that, in your opinion, that would change
yes,
the laws.
so you could change the law, but right now the law says you can't have a gun unless you go through a certain procedure. If you're a
No
business,
problem.
if you're a businessman and you've been robbed a few times by somebody who walked in with a gun, you can go to the police and get legal authorization to have a gun.
Yes,
That's not
no
a
problem
problem.
with that.
That's fair.
Hmm.
Should we allow assault weapons, which the NRA fights for? Weapons that were designed for the military to kill as many people as fast as they can.
Again,
Should
the
we make that
question is,
available?
the question boils down to,
That's what the NRA fights for. Don't take away the right to acquire assault weapons. We even, some years ago during the Great Depression, we took away the ability to acquire machine guns. The assault weapons today are literally machine guns because they can unload 100 bullets in within 2 minutes or something. They may not call it a machine gun.
I
Why do
don't think
you? Who
I
needs
don't
that
think
thing?
it makes a difference if you're killing somebody with a handgun or an assault rifle. If you're good
But
at what you do,
I agree with you. But you can't do as much damage with a handgun as you can with an assault weapon. So the
absolutely can.
assault weapons should be outlawed. But the NRA is against that.
Again, as
You
long as
think
the law says you can
you
have
think
it,
you think people should be? They don't need it for hunting. You don't want to. That's not hunting. That's slaughter. If you need
yes,
food,
but
you're probably killing that.
when they say assault rifles, you gotta understand, for example, in New Jersey, when you own an assault rifle, it fires one bullet at a time. It's not fully auto. Okay? So it's like a handgun.
I don't know what. That's not the definition of assault weapon as I have learned about it.
It's an
So I
assault
don't know.
weapon.
I don't know
Trust
about
me, it's
New
an
Jersey.
assault weapon.
What?
It's an assault weapon, an AR-15, if you will, okay, that fires only one round at a time. You gotta
That's
keep
not.
squeezing the trigger.
That's not considered an assault weapon.
Absolutely does. The
Every
state of
weapon.
New Jersey,
Yes, you're right. Every weapon is an assault weapon.
the state of
But
New
we have
Jersey is
specific
considering an assault weapon.
definitions. I bet you any amount of money that New Jersey doesn't consider everything an assault weapon.
I'll find
It's
out right
only
now.
it's only what was designed for the military to kill as many people as fast as they can. That's what it's an assault weapon. If you want to redefine what assault weapon is, then I'll agree with you. But that's not what we refer to as assault weapons.
I understand what you refer to, but
That's what
I've
that's
held
what
a
the
gun there in
language
my
is.
lifetime,
That's
and
what the language is.
I
Bump
understand.
stocks. Bump stocks are not banned.
Bomb stocks are
They
banned.
don't.
Bomb
They
stocks are
don't. They
banned
don't.
federally.
No, the NRA doesn't want to deny bump stocks
Bomb stocks
to
are
every
banned
individual.
federally.
What?
I listen. I had to give mine back.
You have to what?
I had to give mine back. I had to surrender it to the police station.
Oh, thank God. All right. At least we got one thing we agreed to. You don't. You don't think that should be available?
I
Bump
didn't
stock.
need it, but it was available, and I felt like buying it.
Yeah, but
So why
why
not?
should it be available?
That's a different
Why?
story. But that's a different
Why?
story.
I mean, it's not fair.
Life is not fair.
Oh, come on. It's like the
We can
you know
say the same
you know
thing.
what you
We can
remind
say
me
the
of?
same thing. We can
One
say
of the Congress. Let me tell you something. One of the congressmen said, "What do you call it? Taking away Medicaid from some people doesn't think it's unfair." They said,
it's
why?
absolutely unfair.
She says, because everybody dies anyway. That's the most
No, but
ridiculous.
if
You're
you
saying,
contributed for your entire life into the system, you're entitled to your
if you
benefits.
if you
You've
what?
contributed through your life into the system, you're entitled to your benefits.
No, you're not. It's not a benefit for you to run people over. You could do whatever you want. You got to adhere to the law. We have laws. If we didn't have laws, it would be human beings are like the worst animals, like beasts. They
They are.
kill each other without purpose. With it. So you got to have restrictions. And otherwise, people say, well, it's a democracy or it's free speech. Or, you can't do free speech if you say, you should go out and kill people and then they do it. You know,
No, that's not free speech. That's hate speech.
no, but they argue the people that do it say it's free speech. They're expressing. Actually, they say owning a gun is free speech. They're expressing their views through their guns.
It's not free
All right,
speech. I'm exercising
let's
my constitutional rights.
let's move on. I would ask you to reconsider, but I'm not going to change your views. Obviously, you have certain views that are built in your mind. So let's go to question 5. Is peace through strength a good foreign policy mantra?
Yes, absolutely.
Peace, peace through strength. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree with that totally.
I
The
do
United
because
the United States is the strongest, and we're in more wars than any other country. We not only are in wars, every war that goes on in the world, because we make the most money exporting
it's
military
business.
equipment.
It's
So
business.
the only one that understood that was a president who I thought was not a great president at the time, because nothing dramatic, exciting happened during his 8 years. But he led the Allies to win the Second World War against Hitler, was Dwight Eisenhower.
Hmm.
And every president that finishes his tenure gets up and makes a speech how great he did for the country. Eisenhower didn't do that. He got up and made a speech. Be careful, be forewarned by the combination of the industrial military complex. And he's right. They're forever spending more and more on defense. I don't know even how any legislature could think that way. Defense against what? There hasn't been a president's child or a congressman's child or a member of the congressman's family ever killed by a foreign nation. But every day they die from cancer, heart disease, every kind of terrible disease. So to get money for those we got to go around with a collection box to collect money for cancer when
Well,
their
that's
own
also
kids,
wrong.
every single one of them will be a victim will die from cancer, from heart disease, from Alzheimer's, from everything. That's the defense. Even calling it defense is a lie. Most of it is offense. It's not a. As a matter of fact, during the Second World War and before, it was always called the War Department. Now
Hmm.
Trump has suggested that we go back to War Department.
The
Defense
name of
Department
it
is
is significant.
a Defense Department is a nicer way of saying it. Nobody could ever vote against defense because it's defense. If they had an offense budget and a defense budget, maybe they could cut part of it. But they don't. It's all defense. So he was warning, and every congressman always votes 100% vote for increase in defense spending. It doesn't matter how much. At the end of when the Soviet Union folded, the politicians said we're going to have a terrific dividend because now we'll be able to spend a lot less on defense. Instead, the Soviet Union folded, and every year since then we spent more and more. This year we're spending a record number, and we sell arms to every country in the world, the ones that are good and the ones that are bad. We're the suppliers of all the weaponry in the world, because it's such a powerful lobby. Because every congressman goes back, and if Lockheed or Boeing gets a contract, their states they have subcontractors that get part of the job. So he comes back to his state and he says, I got good news for Kentucky. I brought back more jobs and more income and more factories because our state is getting part of the Lockheed contract. So they always vote for it. Ron, are you Israeli?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is China a threat to the U.S. and the world order?
Yes. I think they are posing a threat as far as intellectual property theft and copying it and just selling it much cheaper than what people put in hard work for and should get paid for their work.
I mean, as to going to war, yes, you're right. They're a threat to. They steal our technology just as we
Everything that we do,
steal theirs.
everything that we make. I said that they're stealing everything they can put their hands on.
I'm saying militarily.
Not just militarily, data
No,
wise.
no. I'm saying the question is militarily, are they a
Yes.
threat? Why?
Yeah.
Why are they a threat?
Because they're building a lot more ships and have a lot more access to soldiers than the Western world. Because in China, you have no say. They tell you you're going in the army, you're going in the army.
We
And
have
if they
a
choose,
much bigger army and much more weaponry and everything than the Chinese.
but if they choose
And
to
we use it
invade
more. And we use
Taiwan,
it
for
more.
example,
We use it more. The United States, since the end of the Second World War, has been in more major wars than any other country in the world. So peace,
so
so peace through strength is a good motto, but it's not true. Because if that were true, we wouldn't be in more wars than everybody, and wars that we had no business being into. Why would we?
that's not the discussion. The
Why?
discussion is
Why?
peace
I
or
want to
war.
ask you. Why? Tell me this before you answer. I'm going to say a longer sentence. Why were we at war against North Korea, against Vietnam, against Afghanistan?
Afghanistan, I can understand the reason because of 9/11.
None of those countries ever attacked the United States. As a matter of fact, in the whole history of the United States, it's never been attacked by a foreign country. You know what the Monroe Doctrine was?
Okay.
President Monroe Doctrine says the only military involvement we should be involved in is for North and South America,
Okay.
only our continent. No, we have no business with all those wars.
You don't think we should have gone into Afghanistan after what they did to us there?
No, absolutely not.
So
Three,
what would
three. I
excuse
want to
you
ask
from
you something. I would have gone after the guys who did it, and we got the guy, but not to go after a whole country and kill out 1 million people and lose so much blood and treasure. We never lost so much in a war as we did in Afghanistan.
the problem was that the
3,000
government
people were
there
killed.
was harboring the terrorists.
So you go after the terrorists. What do you
But if
mean?
the government is helping them evade you, you
Where,
should
where,
eliminate the government.
without our knowing it, we're harboring lots of terrorists.
Oh, I'm sure.
They weren't harboring the terrorists because they agreed with the terrorists. They were harboring the terrorists because it's a free country relatively, at least for that kind of thing. And you can come to Afghanistan and be the worst terrorist. So I would go after the people that did it. They were Saudi Arabians mostly. They weren't even in Afghanistan.
But they resided in Afghanistan.
So that means anybody could come after us if one of our terrorists here creates trouble for Israel or any other country. You don't go
Technically,
to war. You don't go to war. You target the thing who perpetrated the thing against you. Monroe Doctrine was, unless we're attacked, only get into wars that.
so here's a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what Israel is doing in Gaza now is not justified?
It's absolutely justified.
But you're killing people that have nothing to do with the terrorists, you're saying.
In a war, you kill. They're the only ones that ever in any war. The world doesn't even understand that. Israel is the only country that ever announces to the people that are going to be exposed to the war
Yes.
to leave it. So Israel is very careful, but they put their people deliberately in hospitals and houses where people live, such that Israel has no alternative. Even if Israel sends food, tons of food, it doesn't get to the people it's meant to get to.
I agree with you.
They take it and use it and sell it back to those people at a high price.
Yes.
So I don't have any problem with. In a war, people get killed.
It's called collateral damage.
We didn't say to the British, don't bomb
Berlin.
Berlin because you're killing civilians. Or we didn't say to Americans, don't drop the atom bomb on Japan because Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the only thing we killed were civilians. There were no army bases, any military thing to bomb in those two cities. But only Israel is criticized in a war for killing inadvertently. That's not their target. If you're in a war, you kill people, young people, old people. So they take pictures of little kids that were killed. And even those aren't true.
Yes.
Last question, number 8. Are tariffs good for the United States economy? Will they bring back manufacturing to the U.S.? Is bringing back manufacturing to the U.S. necessarily a desirable objective?
Well, it's always good to create jobs for your citizens so they don't have to rely on the government.
I don't agree with that. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I don't think it's good to bring back the jobs that the Chinese were doing for us of cockamamie toys and little nonsensical
I'm
things.
talking about manufacturing of cars,
I'm
manufacturing of
talking about all
refrigerators.
manufacturing. Walmart and Target and Dollar Store and so many of these companies exist from products made in China. We should get our employees, our workers, back to building roads and highways and things that benefit our country, not
Okay.
not to take over the manufacture of nonsensical.
Not talking about non-cycle,
But that's what the Chinese. That's
significant. I'm
what the
talking about
Chinese often.
manufacturing steel, for example.
The Chinese supply all the products, or most of the products, in Walmart that they sell at such big discounts, at Target,
But
at
look at the quality of the things.
the quality.
Yes.
Well, you want what super quality do you want for a toy? I
I
mean,
want a toy that lasts more than
yeah,
two
it's good enough. Good enough. I
I
want
want a toy that lasts more than 2 months.
yeah, but I want our employees to work on something important, not that
I
we
didn't
correct
say
toys.
manufacture toys. I
The
said
toys,
stop manufacturing
if the
here.
toys don't kill kids, I have no problem. If they want to buy that, they could buy that. That's a privilege.
But the problem is you don't know what they're putting in there as far as materials.
We do because we have uh, uh, the what agencies
The child safety advocates
analyzes
and all that.
analyzes the safety of products. We have control.
FTC.
We don't let things to be sold to kids or anybody that's harmful to our people. No, that's not true.
Okay. I disagree, but okay.
You could disagree, so you could check the facts. You could have a different opinion, but not different facts. So we're the biggest beneficiary of the Chinese production that provides so much of the things that we buy from them.
So you don't think manufacturing of cars should be done in the US for American cars?
It is done in the U.S. What do you mean?
The majority of it is done in Mexico.
Not exclusively. No, it should be done by all the
And
other countries if they're competitive and they make a better product.
well,
Why
it's the
should
same
you?
company. Let's say
Why,
GM
why
has
should
a
we?
factory
Why
in
should
Detroit.
we? Why? I'll ask you. Why should we deprive our consumers out of getting a better product or at a lower price or at the same price at the same product at a lower price? Why should we deprive them? I used to
We
say,
shouldn't deprive them, but we
you
should
know
also make sure
something,
our citizens have
when the
enough work.
when the Japanese first started to compete in the United States, because initially GM and Chrysler and Ford dominated all of the car sales. Then we let the Japanese advertise in the United States their cars, Toyota and Hyundai. I was arguing, why don't we stop them from advertising here, right? I said, have
No,
you?
they can advertise. I have no problem with them
No,
selling their stuff here.
so then they're going to be selling their cars here.
I have no problem with that.
Good. So we agree. So what do you
I have no
want?
problem. If
So what
you
do you?
want to sell your stuff here,
No. So
I
what do
have
you?
no problem with
So
that.
what are you saying? You were saying that we should manufacture all the cars.
we should. I didn't say all the cars. I said American cars.
We do
We're doing
manufacture.
a small part of it here,
We
not
do
enough.
we manufacture all of the American cars. Ford, Chrysler.
Most of them are manufactured in Canada and Mexico.
That's our choice.
That's the company's choice.
It's not they did it through an invasion.
No, no, no. But the tariffs
The
are
American companies decided, and the American consumers decided.
okay.
That's
The
free
American companies
choice.
decided. The consumer doesn't decide where the car is going to be manufactured. It's the
Consumer makes the ultimate decision, the decision whether they're going to buy that car.
okay.
If the consumer doesn't buy it, the manufacturer, car companies are not getting it from anywhere. They're not acquiring it. They only acquire it if they could sell it. So it's meeting a demand that exists.
Yes, but I think if you bring the manufacturing, or you want to leave it in Canada or Mexico, that's fine.
No, I don't. I want to bring it all, but why shouldn't we bring it external production to our consumer?
We can,
The
but
best, best product
then
at
there's got to be reciprocal
the
tariffs
best
because
product.
we're paying tariffs on everything we export to Mexico or anything else we export. The EU had tariffs on the US, and the US didn't have tariffs on the EU. So why not reciprocate?
I don't agree that we were paying tariffs on everything from Mexico because we had
I
an
didn't
agreement.
say everything. We were paying tariffs on like things from Mexico that we were not charging Mexico.
Well, that's fair. Then should do it.
Then we should reciprocate.
But but what Trump has introduced is tariffs on our allies and then people we had agreements with. That's not
Well,
what
if you want to change the rules, we can negotiate. You
not
can't just
changing the
now.
rules. They were not changing the rules. Trump changes the rules.
Yes, I'm saying
And
if he wants to change the rules,
I
I have no
happen
problem. If you want to
I happen to love,
renegotiate the contract with me,
I
let's
happen
sit down
to
and renegotiate.
I happen to love Trump. Trump. He's a very close friend of mine, and I particularly like what he's done for Israel as opposed to all the others, Macron and France, which has a big Jewish population, and most of the other countries have been so critical of Israel that don't even know the fact that the Palestinians have had many opportunities to have their own state and
Yes.
they didn't give the slightest gesture that they would do anything to 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 have a
Every
state.
time they were offered the state, they ran away like it
And
was fire.
Israel's done a lot since 75, since 48. They turned over the Sinai to Egypt,
Yeah,
much bigger than Israel,
three
and
times the size of Israel.
and
I
and,
remember as a
and
kid
also, and also
going there.
adjacent to the Suez Canal, much more valuable than Israel.
Oh yeah.
Israel had a border issue with Lebanon, and they gave up the 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 part that was in dispute to Lebanon just to avoid that conflict. Uh, Barak went to Camp David with Bill Clinton, and Bill Clinton said he was amazed that Barak gave Arafat 95% of what he wanted. And then he left. He didn't look. It's one thing if you want to negotiate a better deal, that he's entitled to. He didn't negotiate anything. He left for Israel and he started a major intifada. That
Yes.
so he had a chance. Bill Clinton said that was the most disappointing thing during his whole administration because he was sure he broke that barrier, that he made the peace between Israel and
All they want to do is cry, look at me, look at me.
they
That's all
didn't
they want to do.
they didn't make the slightest gesture in 75 years. And Israel's done more than the slightest gesture. The UN on day one said to the Palestinians, we'll give you land nearby.
Nope.
Their goal is not, you know what the charter of the Hamas is?
Hamas wants to eliminate Israel, all Jews.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you know, they say it's not to eliminate Israel
all
give
Jews.
or give Palestine a state. They're their charter says to eliminate the state of Israel and the Jewish people.
Yes.
Now, how you going to make peace with somebody like that?
You can't.
I'm sorry, you're such an exciting guest. You made it such an exciting program. So I appreciate you joining us. I hope you'll come
Pleasure.
again.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
It was really my pleasure, and I appreciate your views, even though I don't agree with them. The way you state
That's the
them,
beauty of this country, that we
yeah,
can live together and disagree.
yeah. God bless you, and I wish you you and all your loved ones everything wonderful till you're 124 years old,
Thank
and
you.
every day. And at 124, we'll negotiate with God for more.
Thank you. I wish you well. Have a
Great
good
job.
night.
Thank you. I appreciate you
Thank
joining
you.
me.